Hey, you guys, welcome back to the channel. And today we're actually getting at a topic that is more so directly for men, young men. This is really focusing in the time frame of when you are developing yourself, specifically almost like that high school level. And I wouldn't say this necessarily applies for women, though in some cases they can take this advice and see if it benefits them as well. But generally speaking, the topic that we're going to get in today is how important it is to break even in terms of having a group of male friends that are mid-level or high level. What I mean by that is simply not being at the bottom of the pecking order when it comes to your development at that young stage or that young age. When you are getting just that teenage level, setting your roots of who you are. This is your launch pad for confidence. So we're just going to jump right into it. So essentially, during that phase is going to shape who you are as a person. Now, there's some people who are going to probably say or think that, that you change, you can change or that you do change from the time that you're like within, your teenage years and up. But the truth is, a lot of people would actually argue for the point that you don't. That kind of sets the core of who you are. And from that point, whoever you are at that point, unless you have some extreme circumstances that change you or alter you, maybe you go away to college, you go to a whole new state or something like that, and you get this total different dynamic that you're experiencing. For the most part, people who are, relatively within the same area that they grew up in, even if it's within a couple of miles, even if it's within, we'll give it a hour radius of where they grew up at, or we'll say at least a 30-minute radius from where they grew up at. If they're within any town that's in about 30 minutes from where they grew up at, obviously the climate of that area is going to probably be the same. So this will probably stay the same, like I said, unless they went to some kind of radical location that gave them a different, a huge change in terms of the experiences that they're experiencing. But to hit back to it, to the point that's being made is, generally speaking, whatever that setup is that creates who you are, the dynamic of friends that you have, the experiences you have as a teenager is going to set the mold of who you are as a person. It's going to set the level of your confidence. It's going to set the level of your your charisma. It's going to set the level of your personality, all these kind of factors that go into making who you're going to be pretty much for the rest of your life. But with men, it's so important for that baseline to set who they are, because male confidence is a compound interest type of thing. And this is very interesting that a lot of people may not realize. And I believe I hinted at this in another video before, but it's a compound interest type of thing. So, and this is the reason why there are a lot of guys who get left behind. There's also the reason why there's a lot of guys who experience level sometime is a lot lower than an equal aged female. Because for men, if you don't have a certain level, base level confidence at a certain age, what happens is that you now take yourself out of certain environments, take yourself out of certain social environments because you don't have a certain level of confidence. What happens now is it's like a multiplier. So as you get older, so I'll get into numbers because I love juggling numbers because it just makes things easier to communicate. If you are at a scale of 1 to 10 in confidence, we'll say a 5 is average. If you are a 2 in confidence and another person is a 6 in confidence, when you leave that teenage phase or high school, whatever the case is, and now you get older, it's like compound interest. If I now say both of you 5 years later, your confidence is getting boosted by 2 times. Well, the guy who is a 6 is now a 12, relatively speaking, in terms of a multiplier, in terms of his points that he's gotten multiplied to his reserve bank, if you want to say it, of confidence, whatever the case is. Whereas the guy who was I don't know if I said 2, but we'll go and say 2. The guy who's a 2, he times 2 now on that, he's a 4. and it keeps compounding where it's like, as you keep multiplying, you see that the gap between the guy on the higher end versus the guy on the lower end starts to become so much bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes on that it can't catch up. And that discrepancy becomes huge. Where in the beginning, what didn't seem like a big gap between the two now is a huge gap. So what I'm saying here is it's important to actively try to establish this and understand this and navigate it by having a group of male friends that are at a mid-level or at least diverse, or obviously it's even better on the high level, but put yourself out there. Try to gain mid-level to upper level or a diverse mix of friends at that teenage age. So what I mean by that is maybe you have close friendships with the guys who are a little bit lower on maybe a status level, a popular level. They're less confident. They're not the type who know how to engage in women, because at the end of the day, engaging in women, engaging in groups, engaging in just in the scene, in the mix, in the know, really helps and establishes you as like a leader, that kind of confident personality, the person who's going to be the go-getter, the person who has no problem getting the job. And obviously it's been proven that when male circles are strong with other groups of equally confident and leader quality type of personalities and men, those same groups will thrive more than ones of groups who are just more of like a survival kind of thing and they're barely holding on. So I say that to say, though you might have your core group of friends that you like to be around, that some of them might not be high on the totem pole, don't mind to mix it up. Get another group, like expand the group. If those groups, if one set of your friends don't mix well with the other set, have separate groups of friends that you hang out with at different times. But don't have just a group of friends that are just on the bottom of the totem pole and think that's okay. There's a lot of people who do that, and it's just as a survival means. Like they'll say, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, if my social confidence level is a 2, and I have a group of friends that are also like 2s and 3s in their confidence level, I have to actively not abandon that group, but also then have a separate group I go hang out with that there may be a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. And even if in that group I'm not the top person, whatever, but I need to learn from them. I need to gather that. I need to gain that confidence when they go out and they go, say, on that teenage level, they go hunting for girls and they going out, talking their game, whatever. I need to go out with them. I need to do that. When they go looking for a job, I need to do that. When they go to social events or parties, I need to go there with them, even if I'm uncomfortable. And the reason why is because it creates the baseline that you need. So now when you go out into the real world as you get older and you're in your 20s now, you are now able to really use those skills that you learned, use that little basis that you learned, that little core group, and be able to establish yourself inside the real world as, like I said, your launch pad. That's the perfect wording to say it, because it's true. Whatever you leave that teenage age from with whatever level confidence is going to either multiply from that point, or it's going to multiply from a lower level that's really not going to compound the same way. So it's very important for you to understand that and really put yourself out there, because that you're going to hold on to that for the rest of your life. As always, you guys take care, be safe, like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.